This is a Mortarbox Media podcast. For more podcasts and to learn how we can help you create your own, visit mortarboxmedia.com.
Welcome to Women AF, the podcast hosted by me, Carrie, and my two favorite Valentines, Danny.
Hello.
And Nicole.
Hi.
Hi, ladies.
Hi. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy almost Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Happy
How's it going?
Oh, no.
Happy PD.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Not right. That's not right. What's going on with you guys? How have you been?
Good.
Buddy?
Well, Nicole and I both have a story, so we're kind of like looking at each other like, who's going to go first?
You go
Do you want me to call on someone? Oh, okay. Go ahead, Danny.
You go,
Okay, I'll go first. Okay, so big surprise. I was listening to And That's Why We Drink. What?
Yep.
Whoop, whoop. So the first thing I just have to say is the kids are back in daycare. Yay, yay, yay.
Thank goodness.
Oh my
so
gosh.
It's great. So on Monday, I was like so ecstatic about it. I decided I'm going to catch up on like all the podcasts I missed. So I had like 5 weeks worth of podcasts to catch up on for And That's Why We Drink. Really, that's the only podcast I caught up on. So like all in like one day. I just had them playing all day long, which is a lot of like true crime and supernatural stuff to listen to in one day.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Anyway, so one of the stories was the Cleveland kidnappings. Do you remember that story with Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Gina De Jesus?
Oh, yes.
They were like kidnapped when they were young, and they were like kidnapped for like 10 years. And then like one of them got out and the neighbor found them and they all escaped. I feel like that's the story that Kimmy Schmidt is based on. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that, but I don't know. That's that. Anyway, so as I was listening to this story, all three of the girls that were kidnapped knew the guy that kidnapped them because they knew his daughter. Like they were friends with his daughter or one of his daughters. I don't know if he had multiple or just they were all friends with the same person or whatever.
Okay.
And so he was like, hey, let me give you a ride home or let me give you a ride to wherever it is that you're going. And they were like, oh, I know this guy. He's also the bus driver. So I feel safe getting in the car with him. Obviously, then he kidnaps he kidnaps them and it doesn't go well. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So as I was listening, I remembered something from when I was young.
You were kidnapped.
I was not.
Okay.
I feel like I would remember that more. Like that wouldn't have just come up. Like, oh, I remember that time. No. So when I want to say I was in like first or second grade, and I was walking home, and the school wasn't that far from my house. It's like maybe a mile, maybe less. Like it was like a 10-minute-ish walk for a first grader, however long that is, and I remember as it was winter because I had on like a full body snowsuit, which is very Wisconsin. And this guy pulls up next to me in his car. I want to say it was the principal. It might have been like one of the administration people at the school. It was somebody I knew at the school that wasn't a teacher, but like worked at the school, like in the administration office, or was the principal. I can't remember. But he asked me if I wanted a ride home. And my parents said, never get in the car with anybody, even if you know them. But they also had a password. They said, if we ever tell anybody to pick you up, we're going to give them a password. If they don't know the password, don't get in the car with them, no matter what they say. Mm-hmm. So I asked him if he had the password. He didn't have the password. I was like, okay, well, thank you. I'm just going to walk home. And he left. And like it might have been fine. He might have totally had innocent intentions, but also I think I was the only person he offered to give a ride home to. So like thinking about it now, it's like super creepy. I was like, what was this guy's real intentions? But to compound the creepiness factor, that was the same school that I found out years later, the gym teacher got arrested for assaulting students and selling drugs to them.
Oh, good God. What was going on around there?
So
Wait,
anyway,
elementary school?
elementary school. I mean, I think that the people he assaulted were from like the middle school.
Oh, that's better. Okay.
I mean,
Okay. Good.
not, but I mean, I don't think he was giving drugs to like 5-year-olds. I think he was giving drugs to like 13-year-olds, which is not like better,
Yeah.
It makes more sense.
but it makes more sense.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's super creepy.
So anyway, that was like the creep factor from today. And it's like one of those things where you're like, it might have been fine. Like this person might have had great, like just wanted to be helpful because it was super cold. And they're like, I don't want you to have to walk home.
Do you think you would have gotten in the car if there was no password situation? Would you have been like, oh, that's a good idea?
I remember feeling weird about it. Like,
Okay.
I remember being like, I don't really want to get in the car with this person.
Right. And why would you? Like, you're like a little kid. You're like, ew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And
So
so
hopefully you just would have been like, no.
no, thank you.
Yeah.
Mom's coming.
Yeah. Well, that's terrifying.
Yeah. And anyway, so I was talking to Daniel about it, and we're definitely going to do the password situation with our
Yeah, definitely.
Because, like,
I've heard it where the kid picks a password and they're really smart and they go, motherfucker. Like, that's the password. And that's because, like, in no way, shape, or form will an adult want to say the word motherfucker to a little child. So, obviously, it's the password because Adam's saying that he would.
Of course he would.
The first time I met my nephew, I was holding him. He was 3 weeks old. I was holding him and talking to him, and then I looked up at my sister excitedly, and I said, has anybody said fuck you to him yet? And she went, no. And I went, fuck you.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. Adam likes swearing at babies.
Yeah, okay. That works.
cool. Okay, so, Nicole, this would work for, like, everyone on the planet except for Adam.
But
Yeah.
Adam. All right, sweet. Good call.
I don't know. Do you just not do the password thing and say, don't ever get in a car? Is that... Because in what circumstances is it going to be like, yeah, I need you to go get my kid who's walking down the road? Like,
yeah,
is that
I
going to
think
happen?
the only situation I could even imagine it would happen is if it was an emergency. But if it was an emergency, I'd, like, send...
Call the school.
Call the
Get a
school, or, like,
teacher.
I would send my parents or something. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, it's not just going to be like... Hey,
Hey, stranger.
Mary, go pick up my kids from school, and that you don't like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's ever been an instance where a password was actually used. Like a parent was like, the password is pineapple, like
Right. Yeah.
probably never happened,
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a trick for the kids to kind of...
I think
Yeah.
what it is essentially was like, because people in cars can say whatever, oh, there was an emergency. I need to, I know your parents said nobody, like, this situation is never going to happen, but it was an emergency.
Yeah.
Like, they could convince your kids. And so then if you have, like, it's more like you have just one other instance
Yeah.
where your kid's going to be like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
Yeah. And to give them a reason to validate that creepy feeling.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, just to make them cautious.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, well, thank goodness you had the password.
Yes.
And
I
you
was not
thought to ask.
snapped. And
Yes.
I did.
Yeah.
I was a very much a rule follower at this point in my life. And so I was like, nope.
Not
my
without
mom
that
said
password.
I don't know the password, so I'm not going to get in the car.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No kidding. Oh, geez.
Nicole, what's going on with you, ma'am?
So my story isn't as cool as yours, Danny. But it is, I mean, to validate how, the three of us are dynamic is that I make things pretty. You guys are more better.
We are more better.
You're more better at those words and like grammar shit.
That works perfectly.
Oh,
Be on purpose.
oh, that's just further illustrating the point of I suck at life.
Based on how
yeah.
red Nicole's face is right now, I can tell it was not on purpose.
That's what I was going to say. Yep, you're red.
Just wait, it's gonna get worse.
I don't care what the topic is today, no matter what, this episode is titled More Better.
Well, so I was messaging my boss. I was sending her an email. I was getting approval on something this week, and I quickly wrote out this sentence of like, what was the word? Due to these circumstances, I think we should do this, and like giving her a recommendation. She replied back, the way you spelt circumstance made my day. And I had to go back and look at what the hell did I just do?
No.
Here's how I spelt it. All right. The correct spelling, if anybody, isn't Nicole and doesn't know how to spell, it's CIRCUMSTANCE. What Nicole did was SERCOM.
What?
STANCE.
What? I'm sorry. I'm shocked, appalled, and offended by that.
I was too, but I think that that totally sums up. I would look at old journals of what I did, and that would be how I spelt. Like, it's that way of, like, circumstance, S-E-R. Like, that.
Sir.
Then, circumstance. Like, duh, that makes sense. And in reality, like, only I can understand it.
Oh, man. Oh, Nicole.
I mean,
Nicole.
at least you didn't write like circumcise or something. Due to these circumcisions.
I thought for sure this was going to be a circumcision guffaw.
And you definitely don't want a circumcision guffaw, because that would be
That
not
I
great.
don't.
That's
Circumcision guffaw.
I had a check today at work that was from a company, and I could tell that it was so it was like a podunk, like mom and pop mechanic shop, like car mechanic, and let's say it was Adam and Ashley's auto maintenance and sales. Okay, the way they spelled maintenance was MAINTENCE. Maintenance.
maintenance.
So it was Adam and Ashley
No.
auto maintenance, and it just tickled me.
Maintenance.
Yeah, that's bad.
Adam, you should try my job. You'd be tickled all day.
Yeah. Well, that was my number one thought of like, shit, where is Carrie when I need her? Like,
Just send me that
everything.
shit. All right?
all my letters to my bosses. I just
Anything you ever type, just send it to me first.
yes.
Dang. Well, speaking of like getting things wrong, basically, my neighbor texted me today and she's like, hey, I'm listening to, she's a faithful listener. Hi, Abby. Thanks for
Hi,
listening.
Abby.
Hi, Abby.
She's like, I'm listening to last week's episode and what are you talking about the C-section and shaking? She's like, that is not a thing I experienced. And I was like, I don't really know. I was like, I don't know. Shit, I thought that was a thing. I remember my sister-in-law having to deal with that, and I thought that was like a medication thing. I'm sorry. Let me look it up. And apparently it is like a lot of women that give birth shake. It doesn't have anything to do with C-sections. It could be like any kind of delivery, and it's just like hormonal or like stress or like blood changes that make you feel cold or whatever. So I just wanted to clarify in case I confused anyone else, because I was basically making shit up.
Yes.
So
what
That's
we
what
did.
I do.
Yeah. I just
When you were shaking, it was like you were cold.
Nicole, you were the only one that shook, right?
I shook so if we're only talking about birth, I shook a lot after delivery, while I was getting stitched, and while they cleaned me up. Like they took.
Yeah, it's like right after
But
is when it usually happens. Like
you felt cold, so you were like shivering.
Well, at least for me. Did you guys have this or no?
I actually shook during delivery. Like when he started crowning, I started shaking. And
but weren't you also standing at the time?
Yes.
That probably had something
I
to
was
do with it.
standing and he was like pressing on some nerve endings, so my legs started
To
like
shake.
were literally shaking.
That I understand.
Yeah, so I don't think that's the same thing though that Nicole you're talking about.
Right. For me,
Out is because you guys keep using the word shaking, which to me means there's something going on with your body, like a muscle spasm or something. Whereas I'm trying to figure out if Nicole's talking about shivering, where it looks like shaking, but you're shivering because you're cold.
it could be. It's not like a seizure kind of shake, but it's more or less like internally, like my whole body just kind of like just shakes a little bit. And inside you do feel kind of, it's hard. I wouldn't say cold, but I would say like a little bit more numb. Like, when you get cold and you get that like numb feeling, and then when you start to shake, at least in my instance, you feel numb a little bit, but your body just keeps moving and keeps shaking, and you're like, I don't like that. Do you see my hand? Like, that's the kind of shaking / shivering that I felt.
I mean, I did look it up today, and it was kind of a combo, and they weren't entirely sure, and like cold like could have been part of it, or it could just be like hormones, just kind of. Or just kind of like trauma, like your body is like kind of traumatized and shaking. So
only because there's been a few times now since I started using cannabis where I will use cannabis and then like an hour later just suddenly start shivering harder than I've ever shivered in my life, and I'm freezing cold. But if I really stop, like I can stop myself from shivering, and I go, I'm not cold, but I still and then I just as quickly snap out of it. So
yeah, it could be kind of similar, just like changes in the body, just like blood changes
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway,
Obviously we're doctors and we have a medical degree, so we understand everything about the body.
Yeah.
Yes.
one more interruption. When I was first concerned about maybe being diabetic, I was talking to my friend who is diabetic, and I said, hey, this has been going on. Is that something I should be concerned about? And he went, well, I do have this. My degree is the same thing as a doctor's degree. The only difference is I'm not a doctor. And he said it like super ugly. And I was like, okay, well, I'm like fucking terrified. I was just looking for like a friendly, like,
right.
Like, that could be totally concerning.
I love it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes we screw it up on this show. That's fine. But not today.
We're not performing any C-sections, any of us. So
Not my plan. No.
We're just giving advice about it. It's fine.
actually, we're not even giving advice. We're just saying like you might feel shaky.
You might shake
if somebody has to perform a C-section on you, or you deliver a baby some other way.
Yeah.
Some other way. Out your nose. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll just flow with it. It's fine.
All right. Well, I mean, on this episode, let's try not to make shit up like that, like I did. So let's kind of talk about what we're talking about. Since Valentine's Day is coming up, we're going to get into a little bit of a romantic topic. We're going to talk about dating.
That was not the right sound.
That was creepy. What was that?
I was going for like a romantic sound.
Do it again.
Wah wah, and that was.
It sounds like Little Mermaid when they're doing the like romantic scenes. Like
yeah.
Nicole, you made it fit. Good job.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. So, as we all know, dating is a little bit different nowadays for us than it used to be. So We're kind of going to talk about how dating evolves as you go through life. So first, let's take a little break. Everything is virtual now, and going virtual means that the spike in online shopping has been massive. But has the quick switch to online left you unprepared? Enter Constant Contact. Constant Contact is every small business owner's best friend. You can create branded emails, sell products, build a website, and make it easy for people to find you, all from a single platform. Work smarter, not harder, with Constant Contact. Sign up for a free 60-day trial by going to our website, womenafpodcast.com, and clicking sponsors. Sign up for your free 60-day trial today. All right, welcome back. Talking about dating and kind of how it's going for us nowadays as opposed to how it used to go for us. And thinking about the evolution of dating, I naturally went all the way back to when I started dating, which was like, you tell your friend to tell that boy that you want to go out with him, and then he says yes or no, and then you go out, which means you don't speak for a couple weeks, and then one of you tells your friend to tell the other one that you don't want to go out anymore. Like, right? So I was like, yeah, that's like how everybody does it. But then again, as always, I'm like, oh man, Nicole and Danny always seem to have completely different experiences than mine. And Nicole, I need to know, was there dating happening? You didn't go to school. In case anyone didn't know, Nicole was homeschooled.
Wait, what? Nicole was homeschooled?
Is this the first you're hearing of it?
I had no idea.
She was.
Adam, did you know Nicole was homeschooled?
Yeah.
Oh.
Was that a serious?
Adam didn't want to play along.
No, not at all.
No.
Well,
We were just joking.
just explain to the listeners that I was out of the room. I didn't hear.
That's what made it extra funny.
Headphones on, and in a serious tone, Danny, you said, "Did you know that Nicole was homeschooled?" Nope. I mean, yes.
Then you were sassy. So, Nicole,
Yes.
tell me about your dating experience.
Okay.
How that started, when that started, how that works.
Well, I was homeschooled until high school. And I had a very protective dad. So what that meant was I didn't date while I was living at home. I did the whole, okay, so I had, AIM, instant messaging. So I did that whole, like, unofficially official, like, we talked all night, we called on the phone, like, we didn't actually date, but me and this kid in high school, we talked all night, we texted all the time, like, it was basically dating.
Wait, was this Pop Boy?
How do you remember that?
I remember
Yes, it was Pop Boy.
Yay!
Good memory.
I love Pop Boy, man.
Yes. But he went and we knew each other freshman year, and then he moved away for the rest of the years of high school, but I still communicated with him through online media.
Okay.
So
that was your early dating experience.
that was my dating. And then I dated in college. But that was stupid, so.
That was different.
That was-
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how it all kind of started for you guys. What about you, Danny?
So I think I dated my first date, I want to say it was when I was 15 or 16, maybe 15. My first boyfriend was when I was 15 or 16. I can't remember. We went on one date where he came over to my house to watch a movie, and my dad yelled at him because he had open alcohol in his car.
What?
And I guess supposedly he borrowed his dad's truck, and his dad had open containers of alcohol.
How did your dad know that?
Because my dad went and looked in the car.
For real? Oh man!
What else was he supposed to do? We're sitting in the living room, and like the way my parents' house is set up is, it's actually similar to our house, where it's like there's only really one like hangout space for everyone to be. It's either you're in the hangout space, you're in the kitchen, or you're in a bedroom, right? Like there's nowhere else really to go.
Yeah.
So like his option was to like go snoop around outside or like whatever. Anyway, so he actually kept his cool pretty well, considering, but like he was like, how, you got into, because we went down to movie gallery to rent a movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? And so he drove with me in the car with open container of alcohol. I mean, he was sober, right?
What was this container? What was it?
I can't remember if it was like open, like what are the tall beer things, the big boys,
like
or
a
whatever?
40?
Yeah,
Colt 45.
I think it was that, and they were open and probably empty.
Oh.
Maybe empty, or maybe in the cup holder. I honestly don't remember.
Got it. Okay.
In the state of Wisconsin, if you have a 6-pack of beer in like the plastic rings, and one of them comes undone and you just put all 6 in the car, that is legally considered an open container.
Oh.
That's out of control.
Yep.
Well, anyway, so he broke up with me the next day.
I would too. Sorry.
Did you tell
It's
him
okay.
that your dad was snooping?
No, my dad yelled at him. Like,
Oh, your dad. Oh, sorry.
yeah. So my dad yelled at him and was like, why did you drive around with my daughter in your car with alcohol? And also, you're both underage. Like, this is a real bad look. And then he was like, it's my dad's, whatever. Anyway, he broke up with me. I ended up dating his brother later. So, cool.
Nice.
But I never dated anybody from my school. I only dated people who lived a minimum of 30 minutes away.
Really? How
Yes.
did you meet them?
I went to youth group at like it's New Glarus. It's like a town. It's like 40 minutes away.
Okay.
So I either knew them from youth group or I knew them from summer camp. My longest person I dated through high school was the ex that I've referenced that I ended up being engaged to, and we dated for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So, like,
okay.
I had a couple like super short like relationships, very high school relationships. Like we went on a couple dates, we held hands one time, and then we broke up because of because they saw me talking to somebody else or whatever it was, right? Oh man. So scandalous. So yeah, and then after that I moved to New York and I dated Lexi for 5 years. So
you had some long relationships. Like you had strings of long ones, basically.
yeah, I had like before Jerry, my ex, my first long ex, I dated like 3 people that were like less than 2 months. Jerry and I broke up and I dated somebody for 2 months. And then when Jerry and I broke up, then I started dating Lexi for 5 years. So it was like, there was no real...
There were I got it. Okay. And Nicole, what about you after Pop Boy?
Well, I was going to say, quick tangent, my dad also snooped on Pop Boy one time. Because, I think it was like senior year, he actually visited one time and he came to our house with a friend, and my dad apparently went into his shoe, which I don't know why he went into his shoe.
What?
But my dad found a receipt of apparently Pop Boy and his friend went and visited someone in prison. And so there was a receipt to like prison in his shoe.
What?
My dad was like, you gotta stop talking to him. He went to prison. And I'm like, hold on, Dad.
I found it in his shoe. Like, what is happening?
And whose shoe? Is it Pop Boy's shoe or his friend's shoe? Like, did you cross-reference? I don't know.
Why was a receipt to prison in a shoe?
What kind of receipt is this? Yeah, so...
Wait, well, what is the receipt for? Thank you for visiting prison.
Pretty much, it was like a visitor, like you went at this time, I guess. So he's like, why is Pop Boy going to prison? And I'm like, I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my word. That is so
dads,
funny.
you guys.
They need to stop going into cars and shoes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. My dad never did anything like that.
Oh gosh.
So college, was it just like, oh, sorry. In college, was it just like little relationships here and there? Or?
Yeah, so I dated a guy in freshman year, and then I dated another guy in senior year, but it was all like 6 months. And then I dated Jared, my husband, sophomore year.
Okay.
So
you didn't fit a lot of cash dating in there.
I didn't.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. All right. I don't feel like you missed much. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
I'm good. I'm good.
So, dating changing once you get married. That's definitely a huge change, right? Like,
Oh, yes.
can you technically call it dating after you're married?
Ooh, good question.
Is it like, what's the technical definition of a date or dating? Because
Well, that's a good question because, like, I remember, like, the way I defined dating in my head is how, like, people old school would define, like, going steady with somebody.
yeah.
Or like courting.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what dating meant in my head. Whereas, like, I always differentiated that from, like, going out and, like, going on dates with people. Like, 'cause
Yeah,
then I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I'm just like, I don't know. The term Daniel uses is like, oh, I was like hanging out with.
Okay. So
Like, I
like
used to hang out with, or I was talking to, like, fill in the
talking
blank
to,
person.
yeah. So that meaning kind of boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah, that was more like
Or
casual.
girlfriend, boy, whatever. But
Right,
like,
but that was more like you were probably not exclusive. Like,
yeah. Okay.
oh, Carrie, or oh, Nicole, you and I, we're talking.
Got
but
it.
I'm also
Right.
talking, Nicole, we're talking, but I'm also talking to Carrie. Do you know
What do you
I mean?
call it then? What
Kinda feeling
do you
out.
call it? What do you call
Right.
it then? Going steady. You call it going
I
steady?
called it
That's
dating.
weird.
No, I
Dating.
called it dating.
Okay.
Like,
So
that
so
was-
and so is they're dating.
so like if I said, oh,
They're exclusive.
like Daniel and I are dating, to me that meant we were exclusive.
Okay. Yeah, that seems right. Okay.
Yeah.
So then now that you're married,
We are exclusive.
that sounds good. But you go on dates, right? You say, "Oh, let's have
Yes.
a date night." Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a date, right? We can call that a
Yeah.
date.
We call
Yeah.
that a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us what kind of dating you guys do now that you're married.
Married with kids.
Married with kids. I do
Married
feel
with
like that's-
kids is a separate thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the date, like you're just starting to dating. And then
Honestly.
you're engaged dating, and then
Yes.
you're married dating, and then there's now you have kids dating.
Yeah, got kids. Yeah. So I feel like there's two different types of dates that Jared and I go on. And one date I would consider is we sometimes go up to Arby's, that's 20 minutes away, and we drive through and get a roast beef sandwich. Like, I consider that a date because we take our lunch hour and we like drive up together, we chat a little bit, we sing songs on the car, and then we come back and we go back to our computers and like whatever. Or we like go on little walks, like 15-minute walks during lunch hour or something.
Was that pre-pandemic also your dates, or is that specifically pandemic dating?
Specifically working from home together, pandemic dating. And then there's I think the alternative too is my parents-in-law are saints. Hi, Matt and Ann. I know you guys listen. They sometimes take the kids overnight on a Saturday.
That's
What?
beautiful.
Oh
Amazing.
my goodness.
Yeah, so instead of just like a date where like you go to dinner and you like leave, we like order pizza and have it delivered. We play video games. Like we have 12 hours to ourselves, which is
That's the dream. That's the dream. Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But it's one or the other. Like, it's either 12 hours alone or like 15 minutes alone. There's no in between.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Those sound like, I mean, that's a legit date. I mean, you're making like a specific effort. You're kind of planning ahead a little bit and just making it about the two of you and spending time together. Yeah. That's nice. Danny, how do you date?
So I feel like in some ways we're super similar where really any alone time will count as a date, especially now, right? Especially in pandemic times. It's like, 15 minutes, great, let's this is a date. We're big on, so right now being stuck at home without somebody who wants to take our kids, our game nights are usually like the kids go to bed, we'll play some games, or we'll play a video game, or we'll watch something, right? Like that's a lot of it. We started doing like project dates. We actually had so much fun doing the fireplace together that we were like, let's do some more projects together and we'll count those as our dates, especially now while they have to be like homebound dates,
Right.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, like one of our favorite things to do was to go play trivia. So actually that's another thing we've done is virtual double dates where we'll get on Skype with some friends of ours and play like virtual trivia.
Cute.
And we'll just like yell the answers at the screen and we'll write them down, but it's not like anyone's keeping track. But like, so we'll play we'll do virtual trivia night double dates sometimes, and that's super fun.
Nice.
So like that's our now dating, and it's funny because like I do think it's so different than when we first got together, because I feel like when you first get together with someone you like want to impress each other, so it's like let's go out to this fancy restaurant, or let's we're gonna do dinner and a movie, or we're gonna
we'll
whatever.
dress up, we'll take the time to do our hair and makeup.
Right.
That doesn't happen now much.
And like even I think of my parents, and like they do the driving in the car thing. They'll be like, it was Sunday, we just decided to drive around, and that was our date.
Joyride. Yeah, that's cute.
So that's kind of like what you and Jared do.
I actually do make him sometimes, whenever we have time, I'm like, let's just drive. The scenery's pretty. And then when I yell at you, stop the car and I'm going to take pictures of the landscape. So that's our little date night. It's fine.
That's good. It's just like, I mean, any quality time together, right? That counts.
What about you, Carrie?
Well, I was thinking, you guys are talking about your kids go to bed and then you have some time together. Well, my kids are old enough now that like we can kind of have time together while the kids are doing their own thing, which is sort of just like some beautiful freedom, right?
Yeah.
Like, and kind of new, so it's extra fun. Like the kids now like want to go off and read, or they want to go off and play video games or whatever, and they're fine to just go do that. And then we're kind of like, oh, well, you want to like turn on the Night Stalker documentary? Yeah. Okay. So like that's kind of how we're pandemic dating now, is just like finding those times where we can be kid free, even if they're just like in the next room screaming at their friend on Fortnite or whatever, and we can just have that time to ourselves, which is great.
Well, that sounds amazing.
It really is.
Like, how old do they have to be?
Look forward to that.
Yeah. What's the
Well,
limit?
my kids are 7 and 10. So
Okay, so we have a little bit of time, say?
a little bit of time. If you can get them
5 years.
Yeah, I guess, you just got to wait for that attention span to grow. That's the main thing, right? Your kids will do things on their own, right? But not for long.
No, I get I can sit down for like 2 minutes before somebody's screaming and I hear a big bang.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember those days.
Run and make sure nobody like drops something on themselves.
Yeah, you'll get over that. You'll get past that. It'll be great.
I'm in the zone where my 2-year-old comes up to me and says, "Play with me?" I don't want to, but I will. And then I just sit there, and then she has a tantrum if I do something wrong. I'm like, oh, why am I sitting here?
Yeah, those are rough times, really.
That's really the hardest, because at this age, it's like they want you to play this specific game that's happening in your head, and like every single time you break the rules, they just like scream at you or fall on the floor and cry, and you're like, I don't even know what I did wrong.
No one's having fun. Why are we doing this?
And they can't quite communicate exactly what they want.
Right.
Oh,
God.
And then they're yelling, and then the 5-year-old's yelling, and then your husband's trying to talk to you, and you're like, I can't. Anyway.
I hear you.
That happens. That still happens later in life.
Right.
Yeah. That lasts. But speaking of the kids getting older, I also have found myself now thinking about, like, what about when they start dating? Like, I can't even quite imagine that, right? Like all the things you have to worry about, and then the inevitable, like when they get their heart broken. Like, I mean, I remember how terrible that was, and I don't want that for them. I know everyone has to go through it, but like my niece and nephew, they're 15 and 14, I think. And they were both in like kind of long-term relationships recently. And then within like a day or two, they both ended. My nephew broke up with his girlfriend. He said he wanted to focus on himself. He's 14. But my beautiful niece got dumped and was a little heartbroken, and that made me so sad for her. And I don't want to deal with that. Right? Not looking forward to that.
10, right? 10 is your oldest, and it's a girl, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, she had her first boyfriend when she was in kindergarten.
Oh.
So we've kind of gone through this a little bit, actually. Her boyfriend, she loved him very much, and they were very happy for a little while. And then he broke up with her because she wasn't as beautiful as some other girl in class. That's what he said. She wasn't as beautiful as, I don't know, whoever it was.
Kindergarten.
And told her that, right?
Yes.
So I've already had to deal with that heartbreak a little bit. Like, I feel like she was like, she didn't take it. I mean, I don't know if she really... She was 5, and she was like, that's what he said, whatever, she was fine, It didn't really break her heart, but I was like, that little fucker. Like, don't you tell my daughter that. So, that
you
was
go to her school, and you like, motherfucker.
I'm outside like,
word.
Where's Caden? I want to talk to Caden.
And then he gets in your car because that's his password to get in. Oh, no.
So that was sad already, and I don't want to deal with the bigger version of that,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my fear, having 2 girls. I know one of my main fears is just, the amount of estrogen that's going to be in my house come 13 years. But my main fear is dating. Like, both girls. Like, how I had it was I had my brother. So I had my overprotective dad. And then I had my overprotective brother who assigned his friends to be protectives of me.
Oh, no.
I had a lot of people looking out, quote unquote, looking out for me.
Oh no. Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it was.
It's
horrible.
like spies.
Right?
There's spies around.
Anybody I talked to, they would like swoop in and be like, hey, and then like take me from the situation. So it was great. But I feel so bad for my 2 girls because they're not going to have that brotherly feature of protecting them or like, being my spy on the inside of the school.
You really just want to spy. Is what you want.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm going to say I think girls are better spies. So
they
I think
get more
having
information.
A sister is a good way to get information on something.
Definitely. And maybe we can arrange. Our kids are going to be in the same school, so maybe my son.
That's true.
He might be. No, yeah, he'll be just a couple years older, right?
Yeah.
He can be there. He can be your spy.
Yes. Let's do it. It'll be fine.
And
But
also,
yeah.
like, I don't know. I thought my personal experience, I didn't want to date anyone at my school because I didn't want to deal with the drama. And I just wanted to, like, do my thing and not have to feel like my significant other was paying attention to me. Also, there was nobody at my school I was interested in. But I don't know. Like, maybe convince your kids, like, don't you want to date somebody far away?
So you hardly ever have to see them.
Yeah, you can see them, like, as much as you want without, like, having to get, you know, like, they're not in your business, right? So if you want to play sports, you want to hang out with your friends, you want to, like, talk to whoever you want to talk to, like, you don't have to worry about them being, like...
They're not distracting you from your
like, you can...
your life.
Do your thing, and then it's, like, you get my attention from, like, 7 to 8 p.m.
That's not bad. I don't mind that.
Yeah, and also with the current climate of social media. So, like I said, my first, you know, quote unquote boyfriend-ish, we were all online and we talked through, we would call each other at like 9:00 at night. We would talk on the, you know, instant messaging at night. He would text me in the morning of like, have a good day in the morning. And like, that's all I would hear from him in the while. And it's just so crazy that could have been a quote-unquote relationship when nowadays it could be like I talk to them on TikTok and it's a relationship. Or like what concerns me is it's not the typical courtship of this boy is coming over to our house to have dinner with us or to go out with my daughter. It's like, what relationships is she having online or through phone or through text or through like whatever other mediums are going to happen in the next 10 years.
They're able to just keep stuff so secret.
Okay, wait, can I tell you a story? Did I tell you the story about Netflix and chill? Did I tell you the story?
I
don't think
remember.
So.
Okay, so sorry, now I'm going on a tangent, but that's fine. So I had like a mini panic attack because I was pregnant with Mally, my first kid, and I was in this high school home group leadership thing for church. So I was with a bunch of high schoolers, and I was talking with them and I'm like, yeah, Netflix and chill. Like sometimes I like to just Netflix and chill and like not understanding the lingo of what that means.
Sure.
And I'm like, I just, you know, I love Netflix. I love to chill. Like that's my language. That's what I do. And they're talking to me and these high schoolers, bless their souls, they're like, do you know what that means? And I'm like, no, what does that mean? And they told me, and I'm like, shit, what's gonna happen when I have kids and they're gonna be like, Mom, I'm gonna go across the street to so-and-so's house and Netflix and chill, and in my
and you're like, oh, that sounds nice.
Netflix and chill, can I join you? That's exciting. So just the whole lingo that comes with dating now is just...
Yeah, it's all pretty terrifying.
But that was also our generation, right? Like we had our own.
Every generation.
Every generation has like, right?
Yeah.
Part of that is though just growing up, right?
Yes, it is. It's
start to get to become your own person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's hard for the parents, damn it.
Yeah. So. It's terrifying.
Yeah,
especially when you see somebody that goes to prison, quote unquote.
Yeah,
and they have a receipt for it.
They have an open bottle of alcohol.
Yeah, driving around with 40, a big boy.
If I've learned anything from this episode, it's always check my daughter's boyfriend's shoes.
Yes, shoes and
cars.
Cars,
yeah,
cars.
Shoes and cars.
Oh my gosh.
The real trick is getting them to take their shoes off. Right? Like, you came in my house, you need to take off your shoes and don't mind me while I sit here and look
and don't hover over their shoes. It's fine. You go over there without your shoes.
You go over there and Netflix and chill in the living room while I investigate your shoes for prison receipts.
Oh no.
Amazing. Oh, all right. Well, If any of our listeners have any good dating stories or want to tell us how your dad snooped on your boyfriend when you were in high school, let us know. You can contact us through email, womenafpodcast@gmail.com, or through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're at Women AF Podcast on all that. You can find us. And you can also become a Patreon supporter from some exclusive content and maybe some free goodies. That's www.patreon.com/womenaf podcast. So come on, share with us, tell us some stories. We're dying to hear from you. Please, for real. We're Women AF, and we know you are too. Women AF is produced by Mortarbox Media and engineered by Adam Rostad. Intro and outro music is SQZ by Shane Ivers. Check him out at silvermansound.com. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review.